Our next game, Bucs Chargers. Huge day from Baker Mayfield. Wildly efficient day for Baker Mayfield, Matthew. 22 of 27, 288 yards. He throws 4 touchdowns. He also ran for 25 yards. Big day for Mike Evans, and Jalen McMillan stays involved.
Yeah, he got the rookie involved. We were wondering about this. It is positive to see that 5 for 75 on a receiving touchdown in a game in which Mike Evans goes nuclear, right? You would expect in a game in which Mike Evans goes 9 for 159 and 2 touchdowns that, well, Jalen McMillan and probably the rest of them didn't do much. But the fact of the matter is McMillan is wide receiver 16 as we head into Monday Night Football, 5 for 75 and a touchdown. As I mentioned, getting the 6 targets. Now has 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. Feels like they found something. They're at Dallas next week. But to your point about Baker Mayfield, like this was a bit of a surprise. Really impressive. It's his best fantasy game since week 4, and it's on the road at what we thought was a good Chargers defense. He just ate them up. Baker's playing at a very high level. Again, like no one's going to talk about him because Allen and Lamar Jackson are playing at such a high level, but only Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson have more touchdown passes this year than Baker Mayfield. He's got 32. He's had 18 or more fantasy points in 3 of the last 4. He's got the Buccaneers playing at a very, very high level. They're going to win the South, and they're going to be a problem in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And their defense is playing a lot better. Todd Bowles has put his blitz hat back on, which is his favorite hat, and they're getting pressure again. And some young guys on that defensive line have taken a leap. And then with Baker, the thing with Baker, his whole career has been, if you can keep Baker Mayfield clean, he is very, very good. And the offensive line and this scheme has put him in position to succeed, and he's just going to air it out. And look, and they want to throw the ball. That's the difference between last year where Dave Canales was obsessed with running Rashad Wright for 3 yards a pop on 1st and 2nd down, and then let's chuck it up to Mike Evans on 3rd down. This year, they're throwing the ball more often early, and this is just a really good offense, Connor.
It is. It's a really good offense, and I think McMillan, I don't want to call it the Godwin role, but taking on, we knew Shepard came into this game really banged up. Cade Otton's targets have fallen off a cliff. It's good to see them getting another wide receiver involved in McMillan. And on the other side of the ball, guys.
And by the way, they ran the ball really effectively. As always, Bucky Irving's better than Rashad White, but both guys get 15 carries in this one. Rashad White gets into the end zone as well. He's just like a touchdown scam artist. Like Rashad White keeps catching like 1 to 2 passes a game, but one of them, they always wind up in the end zone.
Yeah.
He always gets into the end zone. But both guys viable as well. This was kind of a shocking result to me. Like, I'm not surprised that the Buccaneers won. Like, I think they're probably a better team than the Chargers. They're also healthier. But 40-17 feels like this one got out of hand.
Yeah, they were 3-point dogs going into the game. Yeah. And so the Chargers, I think a lot of it is Herbert clearly wasn't right. Like, he just couldn't move to the same level. And then the Chargers defense has been good this year, but they've beaten up on a lot of bad offenses. And then when they have played really good offenses, they've gotten exposed. Like Lamar Jackson, to be fair, Lamar Jackson does whatever he wants against whoever. But Lamar Jackson lit them up. They got lit up by Mayfield today. So disappointing. I think they'll bounce back on Thursday night against the Broncos. But I think the story here is more the Bucs and the fact that I think this year in the NFC, like I don't think any of these teams are super, super scary. And so I wouldn't be shocked if, we wind up with like the Bucs or the Rams in an NFC title game with a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Liam Cohen has done an excellent job with this Bucs offense all year.
You got to feel like he's going to be one of the hotter head coaching
candidates. He'll get interviews.
Yeah.
For sure. He'll get interviews.
Yeah. Bobby Slowick's taken a step back, and Liam Cohen has stepped up.
You almost wonder why the Bucs wouldn't be the team interviewing him.
Yeah,
at this point.
Honestly.
I mean, what is the strength of the Bucs right now?
It's their offense.
Right.
You know what? And they won't. This is an NFL discussion, not a fantasy one. I'll just say this very quickly, though. They won't do that, but they should. I remember back, and I said this on air. I said this on air on ESPN. But I remember when Jay Gruden was the head coach of Washington and Sean McVay was the offensive coordinator. And I remember saying this on air, like when McVay was getting interviewed. I'm like, we should not lose McVay. Like honestly, they should fire Jay Gruden and offer the job to McVay if that's what it will do to keep him, right? And obviously they didn't do that. The Rams hired McVay, and the rest is history. Jay Gruden McVay and Gruden are very close, and I don't think McVay would have done that even if, you know what I mean? Like, but, and I like Jay Gruden, but I just, you know what I mean? Like, there are definitely times where you're like, you're better off keeping the coordinator than you are the head coach in some cases.
This is the question. What do you feel more confident in replacing? What Liam Cohen has done or finding a defensive coordinator?
Correct.
The Bucs defense, I mean, it's gotten better, but it's not.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been bad. I mean, the Bucs defense gave up 1 million yards to Kirk Cousins and 5 touchdowns, and he duly turned into an absolute pumpkin. And I think that, like with Todd Bowles, like in the start of the second quarter, It's 4th and 3 on the 3-yard line. 4th and goal to go from the 3-yard line. And it's just like, there's just a 0% chance Todd Bowles is going to go for this. Yeah, it doesn't matter that they've moved the ball at will so far in the game, but it's like, there's just no chance. He's just going to kick 22-yard field goal. This is what he does. Very conservative coach.
Other side of the ball, very quickly, Ladd was once again McConculous. 17.5 fantasy points over his last 4 games. He's had at least 5 receptions in 7 of the last 8. There was questions as to whether he could go in this game. Looked very healthy. There was a debate as to whether it should be what was the other? I think it's still he's McConculous. The Gladiator.
Gladiator's good. You got to be nervous right now.
Good is a strong positive adjective.
I don't know.
You could do both though. You could say Gladiator.
The Gladiator. Are you not entertained?
Yes.
That was the pitch.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem like a Gladiator type of player.
No,
Gladiator
exactly.
should be like a DK Metcalf.
Thank you. Exactly.
That's why
right.
it's good though. It's funny.
The Laddie. No,
it's ironic.
He's McConculous. he makes all these catches over the middle of the
real
field. He's reeling them in, and
it felt like he was going to have a day as twice as good as this with how things start. Like this was an early stat line for him, and then the offense with Herbert, they really didn't do much in the second half.
their second leading receiver in this game was Stone Smart.
Right.
With 2 T's. By the way, who was my desperation play on Fantasy Football Pregame? Another reason why you should be watching Fantasy Football Pregame Sunday mornings 11 to 1 Eastern on Peacock and the NFL and NBC YouTube channel. I'm a company man. Go ahead.
Last thing on this game, people always talk about how running backs, the value is inflated in perception versus what it actually is in terms of value. This team really misses J.K. Dobbins. They really miss an explosive
at running back.
Yeah, and just his explosive element, his value as a pass catcher as well. Like they just can't do anything with Gus Edwards and Kamani Vidal.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.